It's been a day, stressing out like crazy. Just wanna be lazy with my girls.
Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, thanks for tuning in. Every single year, I tend to do a full makeup tutorial. So I've been thinking about it, like, what am I gonna do this year? I don't wanna do the same thing, and I feel like I do usually pretty, like they're very fall, but they're more unique fall looks. But I feel like today, I'm gonna be doing a very fall look that a lot of people would like to wear. And the reason being is because I actually was wearing this the other day, testing out, trying to figure out what kind of look I wanted to do for you guys. And I had so many people compliment the look on me. Really excited to share it with you guys because I love it even more now, knowing that this is something that like a lot of people like. And it's, if you have hazel eyes, this is the look for you because it really makes the eyes pop. I'm gonna be using the Kristi palette with Pure Cosmetics on the neutral side. As I'm filming this today, I don't know if I'm going to be able to get this up in time, and it's probably going to be done, like sold out basically by the time that I get this up. But I know that they just did a restock. They're doing a surprise restock on this palette. It is a limited edition palette. If you don't have this palette or are not planning on getting this palette, don't worry too much because these shades are pretty neutral, so you might have something lying around that will work. I'm super excited to put this look back on because I took a picture and I put it on my Instagram. You guys should follow me on Instagram if you're not already. It's Lindseys Lovely Life, just like here. It's also linked in my description bar if you just want to click on that. But yeah, I'm really excited to take some more pictures because I did take a picture and post it on my Instagram, but it was, you can't really see the full makeup like on some of my other pictures, so I was busy that day and I didn't get a chance to take a picture, so I'm excited to take pictures. That's what my life, that's my life. I'm just excited to put makeup on so I can take pictures for you guys. Okay, we're starting out as usual on my eyes with the Urban Decay Eyeshadow Primer Potion in Eden. You guys know this is a staple for me and I use this every time I do a makeup tutorial pretty much. So starting out here, the first shade that I'm going to go into is this shade right here. It is a mustard shade, which is not super common in a lot of palettes. However, I don't feel like this is a super make or break part of the makeup look. So just use what you have. Maybe you have something close to that or something just lighter than one of these browner shades. Just use that. It's not gonna make or break the look. I do think it helps it pop, but it's not gonna like ruin the look if you don't have this yellow shade. And so I'm gonna start out here by putting this on the transition area of my eye, which is pretty high up for me because I have slightly hooded eyes. I don't know if you guys can tell, but if I put it in my actual crease, it doesn't show up when I have my eyes open. So I always bring it up higher, closer to my brow bone with like just the tiniest bit of space there so that I can highlight that portion later on if I feel like I want to, because sometimes I'll be forgetting. So I'm just taking this mustard shade, like I said, and I'm just putting it in that area and blending it out in back and forth and circular motions. If you have a shade that's kind of like orangier instead of yellow, a lot of neutral shades have those like that are more warm toned, so that would also work. And actually it does look slightly orange on the eye just because it is like a mustard shade, so I feel like a lot of people can still pull this look off even if you don't have a yellow. The brush I'm using is a Morphe M433. It is just a fluffy blending brush, which you definitely don't need to use Morphe. There are hundreds and hundreds of brushes out there that will do the exact same trick. As long as it's got this fluffy shape, I'm sure it'll do the job just fine. I am kind of taking it in a little bit of a round shape, so I'm taking it from all the way from the inner to the outer in a very round kind of shape. And that is to, I don't know, I just want the focus to be really round in the eyes. Okay, now I'm taking a little bit of a smaller brush, but it's still a fluffy brush. You really can just use the same one if you don't have a smaller one, but I do like to use a smaller one just to get a little bit more control of where I'm going to be placing the next shadows. So the next shade I'm going to go into is this one right here. This is called Told You. It's an orangey, warm shade. If you have a warm palette, a lot of times it has this kind of shade in there. And this color I'm going to be taking more so in my actual crease, but just below the yellow part. Again, all the way from here to the inner part. And don't worry about coloring if you cover up the yellow too much, because you can always go back in and add more if you want to. And we are going to be going back into the yellow anyways to kind of just blend things out. So I like to use the smaller brush to place it where I want, and then I'll go back into my other brush and I will just blend everything together with a little bit of the extra yellow on top as well. So the next part is we're gonna be deepening everything up. So this part can be a little intense if you're not used to using a lot of dark colors on your eyes. So the trick is less is more. Start out with little and build it up if you're nervous about it. But for me, I like to go in, so don't be alarmed. But we're gonna be using the same smaller little brush that I used, and I'm gonna use this shade right here. It's a deep shade, but it is a little bit more on the warmer side. You can see this one. This shade would totally work as well, but this is a little bit more on the cooler side. I'm gonna use this one, but if you have a dark brown, it'll work. And I'm creating a halo eye, so what that means is that we're gonna place the pigment on the outside here and on the inside here. And we're leaving the middle blank. I mean, it's not totally blank because there's already shadow there, but we're not putting the dark there. And then I'm just gonna start slowly in the middle and blending the edges in circular motions till it kind of fades a little bit into the other colors. Again, if you are nervous about this, less is more. I put a lot on there. You don't have to do that. You can build it up. And you're slowly just gonna go in motions around the edges here and back and forth on both the inner and the outer parts. And the main focus is we wanna make sure that we keep this very center part right here relatively blank, because that's where the shimmer shade is gonna go to really bring a focus to the eye. I actually learned this from Raw Beauty Kristi, which is so funny that I'm using her palette to create this for you guys, because I'm pretty sure the first time I ever seen somebody do a halo eye and like really focus on the center part like right here was from Raw Beauty Kristi, and here we are using her palette. If you guys are having trouble with using your brush and getting the motion down, pay attention to where it's, I can't explain it every time I move my hand, but one good tip is to pay attention to where somebody is holding the brush, what angle they're holding the brush. It really does help with the pressure and with the blending, because the harder you press, the more it's gonna blend out everywhere, and the lighter you press, the more focused it's gonna be. So a lot of times I hold my brush pretty close to the end, and then I do these little circle motions, especially with deeper shades, because we don't want it to go everywhere. I mean, it looks like it's going everywhere because this is a very smoky, very deeper kind of look, but we don't want it to get too out of control. We still want the yellow, you know, to show those really nice like shades up here. So I like to hold it at the end because it gives it like a more of a little light touch, whereas if you were to hold closer, it's too much pressure and it's gonna take away from the rest of the color at the top. So if you find that these colors are starting to just all blend together and look not have the separation like mine does, try putting your hand, try holding your brush a little bit lower and doing more of a lighter. You just want a little bit of pressure. You don't need to go in super hard to blend things out. The last thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go back into the first shade. Once again, that yellow. This is actually something I do with a lot of my looks, is I'll continuously go back into the very first shade and use that shade to blend everything together even more. I think we're pretty close right now, but ooh, that was a lot of the shadow. But I do like to do this just to kind of make sure everything is very well blended together. And I'm using that same big fluffy brush as well. Okay, now that we have all the matte shadows done, now it's time for the beautiful shimmery colors. I love adding shimmer. So in the palette, again, I'm going to be using the center shade right here. And this is another shade that is pretty typical in a lot of palettes. A lot of warmer palettes have this gold, light gold shade. If you have a gold, that will work. Something tinted gold, preferably a lighter gold. But if you have something like this, maybe you have a highlighter this color, maybe it's in your palette. I don't know, but this is a very common shade in a lot of palettes. That's the one I'm gonna be using on this center part of my eyelid, and I'm just gonna use my finger. So I'm going to just press it literally right there in the center, and I'm just gonna go back and forth a little bit here, and I am gonna pull it up not to my brow bone but right to the edge of the yellow, kind of just dabbing it on there. And just doing a little bit of a patting motion here into the brown a little bit. And then the other side. It's okay to get it on top of the brown a little bit because you want it to blend in. But what I do like to do is I go back to the brush that I used with the deep shade. This is the smaller one that we've been using. I don't add anything on there. And I basically just kind of dab over it. And that will also kind of help blend it together. But I don't want to take it away, so I don't do a brush like that. I don't do back and forth. I just do it up and down, kind of bounce the motion. You can always add more shimmer if you feel like this took it away and you liked it better. Just do what you want to make it look how you like it. And that is the main part of the eyes. Let's move on to face, and we will come back to finish up the eyes because they're not quite done yet, obviously. And we also have to like highlight the inner corner, do the lower lash line, all of that. This is a very eye focused look, if you can't tell. Let me just take a tissue here because I do have some fallout that I want to try to take off real quick. So for primer, because we're starting to get into the cooler months, oh my gosh, I'm so excited for it to cool down. Finally today, for the first time in so long as I'm filming, I'm not sweating and it's very nice. But with that said, because I have super dry skin, just so you guys know, I have very dry skin. I like to prep my skin in a way that, because it's gonna be colder out, I'm gonna keep a little bit of extra hydration. So I'm going to use a little bit of a combo here. My main primer is gonna be the e.l.f. Poreless Putty Primer. I've just been using this in my Project Pan. If you guys wanna check out those videos, I'll put them up here in a playlist. But I love this as just a general primer. And then I also have another thing by e.l.f. This is the Prep and Hydrate Balm, which I like to use a lot in addition to another primer in the areas that I get the most dry on my face. So this is just like to reinforce the fact that it is gonna be colder out now. And so we wanna keep a little bit of extra hydration. So I just use this in my T-zone, which is, like I said, where I get the most dry. And then for the Poreless Putty, I just use all of the face. Have you guys been breaking out from wearing a mask? Because I have been, and I'm not liking it. It's not fun. Don't like it. It's not good. Not good. I like to have this stick on hand so that I can use it in combination with like any primer, and it just gives that hydrating factor. But if you have like a hydrating primer specifically, that would work fine. This is just a good addition product to kind of add the hydration, you know? So you can kind of manipulate any of your base products. I'm gonna be using super hydrating foundation, and I have two different ones here. I'm gonna be probably using the Fenty Pro Filter Hydrating Longwear Foundation. This is a medium to full coverage foundation, but I also have as a suggestion the Revolution Conceal and Hydrate. This is a drugstore foundation, but it is very full coverage. So if you love a full coverage foundation, this is a really good hydrating full coverage drugstore foundation. Today I'm going to use the Fenty because I want more of a medium coverage. These two foundations are super hydrating, so if you have oily skin, I wouldn't recommend these. I would recommend your normal foundation or a matte foundation or something that's like a natural finish rather than a hydrating finish, because you do still want some extra hydration, but because I have dry skin, I have to cater to that, and if you have oily skin, you have to cater to that. So I wouldn't necessarily suggest super hydrating products for you, although you should still use moisturizer because everybody should moisturize their face. Maybe before bed instead though. That way it has time to soak in and then you don't get super oily during the day. You know what I'm saying? I just had to add that in there because I've been talking a lot about dry skin, and so I know not everybody watching this probably has dry skin. This brush is by e.l.f. I love e.l.f. you guys. I use so much e.l.f. This is the 103. It's like the precision angled blending brush or something like that. It is really nice. I've been very much enjoying it to apply my foundation. It is a happy mistake because I did not mean to order it. As you guys can see, I kind of left my nose in this kind of area a little bit blank because that's where I like to put my concealer. And I feel like less is more. So I don't really necessarily need my foundation under my concealer. We just want them to blend together. So I tend to leave those areas pretty blank. I did already put a little bit of foundation on my nose, but you get the point. Concealer, I'm gonna use my Revolution Conceal and Highlight Concealer in the shade C1. By the way, my foundation was in the shade 120. And I'm gonna use this under my eyes. This is a pretty full coverage concealer, so I love this concealer, you guys. I love this concealer. I'm just gonna take a sponge, and I've actually not been wetting my sponge to do this lately because I've been too lazy to go in my bathroom. And who would have thought it works just as good? This whole time I've been getting up to go to the bathroom and wet my sponge, and it's not completely necessary all the time. I do like it, the finish, when it is damp, but you get more coverage when it's dry as well, so I'm not mad at it. Okay, powder, you guys. So again, going into the colder months, I feel like we definitely don't need as much powder as what we do in the summertime, because we're not really gonna be sweating. So I'm just gonna use a loose translucent powder. This is the Ciate Everyday Vacay Coconut Setting Powder. I like this one because I don't know, it works really well for me, and it is a true translucent white powder. If you guys haven't seen any of my other videos, I struggle with finding translucent powders that are actually translucent on me because I'm so fair. A lot of times they still have a tint even though they say translucent. But anyways, I'm just gonna take a little bit on my sponge and I'm just gonna stamp under my eyes because for me, this is a necessary step. I just have to do this. It makes me feel like I'm reinforcing my under eyes to not crease so much because I have very, very, very creasy under eyes. But I'm just gonna put the majority of that powder under my eyes here. And then I'm just gonna take some more. I'm gonna put it on the back of my hand a little bit here. And I'm gonna put it in my T-zone area where if I do get any oil, it's weird because I guess I have more combination skin. I always have super dry skin, but a lot of times I just say that because I emphasize how dry I am, but I also do get oils in my T-zone even though it's dry. I know, it's weird. So I do like to powder these areas a little bit, but because we are going into the cooler months, I don't feel like powdering the entire face excessively is necessary. In fact, I usually touch my face here if it's pretty dry. If it's really wet, of course, use a little bit of powder. If it's, you know, not too bad, or if it's a foundation that does dry down, I don't think powdering is really necessary. Unless you're gonna be wearing a mask, powder that. Powder. Or just don't put anything there at all. I'm gonna take the Cream Milk. It's the Milk Makeup Matte Bronzer in Baked. It's a cream highlighter. And I just take my brush on here. This is the best stippling brush for cream products. Oh my god, you guys, you need this. You don't need this. You don't need anything. I hate saying that. It was like a reaction because I feel like I need it. Nobody needs any makeup. But this is the e.l.f. Precision Stippling Brush or something. It's the 105 and it is freaking phenomenal for cream products. Oh my god. So I'm just bronzing the face here with my cream bronzer, and I'm just kind of obviously going up and down, blend it out here. I feel like that was kind of a lot. Oh, it's so pretty. I love this bronzer so much. If you're gonna use a cream bronzer, do this before the powder. I didn't use a lot of powder, so I feel okay. But if you did use like more powder than I did, I would do this before you powder. I like to take some on the sides of my nose. I just do. And here. I usually just use the excess, just kind of on my neck, a little bit under my jaw. For blush, I'm gonna go with my Burt's Bees Toasted Cinnamon blush. It is a really pretty peachy, almost bronzy shade. This is very pigmented, so if you want to buy it, just keep that in mind that it is pigmented. Wow. Do you see what I mean? It just happened so fast. Put it on the nose if you like that look, you know? I love blush. Oh, it's so pretty. I always feel like my makeup looks so dramatic because I'm like so bright here and then so bronzed here because I'm just so fair skinned that everything else looks so intense. I'm coming to the realization that I don't have a gold kind of highlighter that's available. Like all the ones I have are like limited edition. I will correct that. I will purchase some so that way I can share with it and I feel better about sharing it with you guys. So I'm sorry, but if you have like a golden highlighter or if you have a favorite highlighter, just use that one. But I want to go towards more of the golden kind of color, and so I'm going to use my Anastasia Beverly Hills Amrezy highlighter. We're just going for the goldish kind of look, so just what you have, you use that. You're going to do that anyways, right? Like, even if you didn't have this, like what I was using and it was available, you would just use what you have. So I'm sorry. Brows are very individualized. I feel like you guys, if you do your brows, you have a routine already. I really need to make an updated brow routine, even though it hasn't really changed since the first time I made one. But I'm just gonna skip over this part. I'm sorry if that bothers you. I'm sorry. It's so boring. It's so boring. It takes too long. So I'm just gonna do my brows and I'll be right back. Okay, I'm done with my brows, and I literally just only used my brow pencil. I used the Anastasia Beverly Hills Brow Wiz in dark brown. Let's finish up these eyes. This tutorial is getting long. What is happening? So for the under eyes, I always use the exact same colors that I used on the top part. So we're gonna start with the yellow shade or whatever color you used first, and take a small little pencil brush or a flat brush or just something really small that you can get up under your eyes with. I do not suggest using one of those big giant fluffy brushes because you will find the eyeshadow all the way down here. But I just basically take this and I'm gonna put it all the way from the outside to the inside. Nothing serious, done. Then to the second shade, that one. And I'm taking it even closer to my lash line, not quite far as down. And lastly, the dark shade. And this one just on the outer third. Then I'm gonna highlight my inner corners. I'm gonna use the same gold shade in this palette that we used in the center. Depending on the shade that you used and your skin tone, you want this to be more of like a highlighty kind of shade, so I wouldn't use something super dark. But this golden shade in this particular palette is perfect for an inner corner highlight as well, so I'm going to use that on my inner corners. I love a very bold inner corner highlight, so I love it to be like everywhere. I really go ham with this. But that's just me, because I love it. I'm just gonna take like the excess that's on the brush and put it on my brow bone. Not too much, because that shade, I don't really necessarily want it to be gold up there. I just want a little bit of highlight, or you can use your highlighter to do this part as well. Same thing with the inner corner, if you want to use your highlighter. Next, for mascara, I'm using the Essence Lash Princess False Lash Effect on the top. And I'm going to be using my Wet n Wild Mega Slim Waterproof Mascara on the bottom. I'm preparing for false lashes, but if you don't want to wear lashes, just use your favorite mascara and build those suckers up. Actually, before I do my bottom lashes for the mascara, I'm going to use a liner. I'm using a brown one. This is by Pure. It's the On Point eyeliner in the shade Down to Earth. It's a brown one, but you can use black or brown. I feel like black would also look nice with this. Or you can skip liner. It's really not that necessary. It does give a more dramatic, like almost smokier kind of look to the whole thing. Like it just dramatize. I've said that before in a video. Is that a word? I don't think it's a word. I think I'm just making it one. Does that like sound like it would be a word? Or is there another word that's like that I just don't know how to say?
Dramatize.
Dramatize! I'm an idiot. Dramatize. 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 To make the eyeliner look more dramatized. Dramatize. Okay. Moving on. I'm going to be putting lashes on, but I'm not doing it right now. I'm going to do lips now, and then I will show you guys the look without lashes, and then we will add lashes so you can see it with lashes, in case you don't like to wear lashes. And we're keeping it super simple on the lips. This is what I've been loving to do, and also, it's not like we can really wear a lot of lipstick anyways. Oh wait, maybe I should wear my brown lipstick. I'll show you two different ways. Okay, so the first way I would like to wear it, very simple, is with the ColourPop Luxe Lip Oil. And this is the shade Hot Shot. I love these lip oils. They're such a beautiful sheer color just to put something on the lips. They smell good, they feel good, they last a while. I love these. So that is a nice little simple lip color. But if you want to make a little bit more dramatic, since this is fall time, let's use a deep brown grungy lipstick from ColourPop. This is a ColourPop Lippy Sticks in the shade Grunge. How fitting. Use a lip liner if you want. It's not necessary, but I'm going to because I feel like it helps me. This is the ColourPop Lippy Pencil in the shade Beeper. feel like I need a more fall shirt on. That's better. Yes, the orange. Okay, you guys, so this is the final look without lashes. And this is with lashes.
Don't you know I like it too? Don't you know that I like it too? We can share your pillow while we
Alright guys, so that is the end of this makeup tutorial. I hope you guys found this helpful and feel inspired to create some fall makeup looks. I don't do makeup tutorials very often, but I feel like a fall one every year is necessary. Do you guys like to watch makeup tutorials? Because I like to watch makeup tutorials still, and I am thinking about doing more. I know a lot of people don't really do makeup tutorials anymore, but I kind of want to keep them going because I like makeup tutorials. They don't get a lot of views, but I don't care. I like them. If you made it to the end of this video, thank you so much for watching my whole video. I appreciate you so much. If you're not already, I would love if you considered subscribing to my channel or even just liking this video, and I might show up in your recommendations later on if you're not quite ready to commit to subscribing. Either way, I'm thankful for all of you guys. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you guys in my next video. Bye! I love fall. I'm so happy it's fall.